Welcome back to the channel, everyone. On this video, we're going to be making a bronze bear skull. Now with most bronzes, you have to start with a wax cast. So we got to figure out how to turn this into wax first. And to do that, we're going to make a mold. Now the skull has a lot of holes that I don't want the silicone rubber to flow into. Mainly the brain cavity and the nasal passage. Any hole I don't want rubber in, I have to pack off and fill one way or another. So I'm going to start by taking some plastic bags and filling the brain cavity. About 3 bags pack up pretty tight in there. Now with some of these holes, I don't necessarily want to fill them. I like things to look as natural as they possibly can. And just because there's a hole in there doesn't necessarily it's going to be locked up. I think on some of these smaller holes, I'll be able to just cut the silicone so it will be free. But then when I cast it, I'll be able to cast those holes in there. Maybe. But the nasal cavity, that's definitely going to be too big, so I'm going to have to find something to fill that. And it's really a shame because it's so cool in there, but I'm going to have to fill it with something. So again, a plastic bag may work. And crumpled up plastic might kind of resemble a little bit of what's going on inside that sinus cavity. The majority of the void is plugged, but it might still be a little too open. The silicone is gonna get caught in there, but I'm gonna try to capture some of that detail, and hopefully I don't completely destroy this thing. This might be a mistake not to close it more. We'll see. Now along the cheekbone here, that would be filled with cartilage, so to simulate cartilage, I got some clay. I'm just gonna fill it in that gap, like so. Alright, so all the major cavities are filled either with clay or plastic. For the smaller holes, clay worked really well. For the bigger voids, plastic. Now bone is a little bit porous, so I want to take care of that. So to do that, I'm going to use smooth-on sonite wax. That's what they recommended, so I'll use that. It says limited shelf life, use as soon as possible. It's also deadly to fish, lungs, and it's flammable. Huh? What is this stuff? Feel like Bob Ross.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
I'm the Bob Ross of bronze. Alright, that's coated with wax. Now it's time to bed it in the clay. For the bedding clay, I'm not using anything fancy. Just a sulfur-free oil-based clay. I'm kind of just roughly putting the bed in here to get an idea of the size, but I need to plan out exactly where the parting line is going to be. The more time and care I spend on the bed, the better the overall mold is going to be, because that'll mean I have to do less work to fill in those parting lines. I'm going to want the parting lines to run right on the edge of the teeth. That'll be the easiest to cover. And then on the edges of the cheekbone here. There'll be some spots where I won't be able to hide the parting line completely, but I'm going to try my best to hide as much as I can on these high spots. There's this lip here. I think I'm going to cross the parting line up here and fill that in, because this area is going to come off like this. I don't want an undercut here. I'm getting the clay close to the teeth here, but along this tooth, it's really deeply incised. See, it comes all the way back down into there. The problem is, if I keep that edge on the bottom of the tooth where I like it, then there's gonna be this undercut right there. And with the top side of the mold, I want it to be able to come off. I don't want there to be an undercut snagging it. So I think I might actually split the tooth here and come up like so. So this tooth will be captured on the bottom side of the mold. And then my parting line for the top mold is gonna come here, so I'll be able to take that off. It's always kind of tricky to figure out where the parting lines are gonna go. Alright, so it's all embedded. Now, I tried to get this as smooth as I could. It's not perfect. It's definitely not like the smooth on video, but I think it's good enough to work. There's probably better clays to work with. This maybe isn't the easiest clay to do this with, but again, it should work. So now I'm going to use a ball stylus to push in some keys to make sure both sides will lock together. So the bottom layer is all set, and this is essentially going to be the bottom layer of silicone rubber. But the next step I have to do is I have to make a barrier and a shell. So to make the barrier, I'm just going to spread some plastic wrap over the top, like so. So what it looks like doesn't really matter. I'm not going to be capturing the detail of anything right now. Then I put clay layers on top of that. Now this is what's going to be the silicone on the top. So I don't want it too thick, I don't want it too thin. I want a nice even coat of clay over there. And then once I put that rigid cap on, I remove all the clay, pour the silicone rubber in, and it takes the void of the clay. The thing I have to watch out for is like right here. Now here in like the eye socket, the cheekbone area, there's a big void, a big dip that goes in. I need to make sure that I have enough relief in this area so that rigid cap doesn't hang on to whatever I'm casting. It should be good enough for me to start putting in the keys now. The keys will make it like a Lego that'll lock together. Alright, it's time for the next step. Now to make the hard backer, I'm going to be using this Freeform Air. It's a light epoxy that's kind of full of air, so it doesn't weigh much. That's what they used on the smooth on video, so that's what I'm going to use here. This stuff isn't cheap though. Oh my gosh. It's impossible to open. It says cut slots. Oh. So it's mixed 1-to-1. Try to eyeball what would cover half of one side. So I let that cure and it feels really good except for a few spots. I didn't quite get the epoxy all mixed together and now there's some soft spots in there. Not ideal. So I'm going to try to scoop out the soft stuff, mix up a smaller batch and put that in there and maybe that'll fix it. Most of it's pretty good though, so I think it'll work. This is a disaster. I thought I had it mixed up. I obviously did not have it mixed up very well at all. Golly. So that's what I'm finding on the outside. On the underside, it might be just as bad. So what I'm going to try to do is mix up a smaller batch, fill in this area that's not cured, and I'm just going to hope that the underside is cured. If not, it's an expensive mistake. I'm hoping some of this will interact with what's already there, that the curing agent will kind of bleed into it. I don't know if that's how that works though. Really rub it in there. Looks good. Hopefully that works. So I let that cure overnight and now it feels the way it's supposed to feel. Good and solid. So now I'm going to take it off. I'm scared to death of what I'm going to reveal on the underside, but I'm hoping it's okay. No. Oh no. Well, that is definitely not what we wanted to have happen. The whole bear skull pulled out. Now the lower base, it didn't move at all. I can still see exactly where the bear skull is gonna go. So hopefully I can get this out of there, remove the clay, put the bear skull back, and this cap will still work. Oh man, I'm gonna have to reset the whole edge. That took hours to do. So it's in the same spot. It's probably just a few millimeters different. It's not gonna make a difference for the mold, but I'm gonna have to redo the edge to clean it up, which takes a long time. Oh my gosh. There's still epoxy that's not cured. The epoxy comes in two colors, gray and white. And when you mix it all up, it's gray. So it looked like it was all mixed up. It felt the consistency like it was all mixed up. It was all gray, but it wasn't. There's still uncured pieces here. Wow. What a disaster. This clay is not separating from the epoxy. It's like the epoxy has joined with the clay. This is absolute disaster. Not only is this useless, the clay is going to be ruined with all that epoxy in there. Clearly I forgot the very important step of putting mold release on there. I gotta see if I can save this, and I'm seeing chunks of epoxy come off with the clay as well. I might have to completely redo this. Oh, so disappointing. Dang it. How do we Bob Ross this?
I know you're sitting at home saying, boy, he's messed up this time. And you may be right.
Fortunately, I don't think this is going to be usable, so we got to start again. So I redid this, but I used a different type of clay, and I used this Sculpx soft clay, and it works so much better. I didn't quite have enough though. I used 5 pounds and I could have used more. So I put the plasticine on there, and I think that'll be okay. But now I'm gonna put the shell back on and mix it more thoroughly. I'm gonna mix it in small batches, put it on there, and hopefully that'll work. Can you believe it? I forgot to spray mold release on the clay again. Hopefully that sets up. The unfortunate thing is at this point I've used too much. I won't have enough to do the bottom side. Live and learn. Well, if it isn't one problem to solve, it's the next. Now, I think this will be okay as long as I can get the skull out and back in the clay bed. It should fit fairly well back together. This bear skull is embedded pretty stiffly into that clay, so that makes me think I'm going to need to use a pretty flexible silicone rubber, because obviously it's going to need to have the freedom to flex and move pretty well. Just see if I can get this to come out at all. Well, that was a royal pain, but that's finally cleaned out, and I just wish I would have sprayed the mold release. I had it right here. I just forgot to spray it. But with the help of a spoon and a piece of a Circle K plastic cup, I was able to scrape this pretty clean. And this material, it's super light, it feels really strong, so it seems like a good material if you use it properly. There's still a clay residue on there, but I think that'll have a minimal impact. Now this should fit right over the skull. Now the skull did lift off from the base, but it should fit on there pretty close, and I'll have to go along all the seams to make sure they're seamless and tight before I pour the silicone rubber. But the mother mold will fit right over that, just like so. So now there's a cavity in there, a void of space from all the clay that I took out. And this clay will tell me exactly how much silicone rubber I'm gonna need. That's a fair bit. So next step, I'm gonna finish the edging of the bear skull to make sure that's clean, and then we'll pour the silicone. All right, so that's finally done, and I have it sealed all the way around the edge, so hopefully it won't leak. I drilled vent holes in the shell, so as the silicone rubber is coming up, it can vent, and then I'll just plug those with clay when they get full, when I see the silicone rubber coming out. For rubber, I'm gonna be using Dragon Skin 10. That's the same stuff that they used on the Smooth On video when they did it, so I'm gonna use the same. It's a platinum-based silicone, which means it's really expensive, but it should capture detail really well, and this is really flexible and stretchy, so it should be able to pull out of those crevices like maybe the nose and whatnot. So this is what was recommended to use for this project. gosh, why do they make it the exact same color? It's the exact same color. Gotta make sure this stuff is mixed super well. Now, this particular rubber should give me enough work time to really get it mixed in. It's pretty low viscosity, so it should flow very well into all those spaces. And yes, I did put mold release on the skull before this point. I left a really big gap here to make sure it had room to flow in, because I've done this before where I have too small of a hole and then it gets vapor locked and it's just a mess. So big old slot just to pour it right in. Gosh, I feel like it should be coming out of the holes. This is concerning here. I feel like it's going somewhere other than where I want it. I see it coming out of this one, so I'll plug that hole off. I see it coming out of this one. I don't see it coming out of that one. Or that one. Which is... Oh my gosh. It's floating. Oh no. The whole thing is lifting up and it's floating. Now it's leaking out. Oh my gosh. I knew something was going wrong. It's worth it to try to scoop this up. Anything that can go wrong will, right? My gosh. When you watch a video like the Smooth On, they do everything and it all works perfectly. I put my clay seal on paper. Apparently, clay isn't sticking to the paper and it's not sealing it because there's so much pressure lifting up on this shell. Hydrostatic pressure, same when you're metal casting. It's just hydraulic pressure picking it up and the seal broke. And I can't stop it, so now I'm just watching hundreds of dollars of silicone run all over the place. Every time I use clay as a sealant, this kind of thing happens. I'm going to use hot glue from now on. Hot glue doesn't do this. Just trying to keep enough weight on it now so it doesn't lift anymore. Definitely not one of those YouTubers who hides their mistakes. You get to see it all. It's just so helpless. Once that seal is broken, there's nothing I can do to fix it. I'm trying to scoop it back up and put it back in, but every time I do, I'm getting little chunks of clay. It's dirty, contaminating it. Just waiting for it to get viscous enough that it stops leaking. So how did it all go? This was such a disaster. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how frustrating that is. Silicone doesn't stick to anything. So once a seal breaks and you get the layer of silicone, you're not gonna plug it up again. At least not any way that I know of. I basically just spent most of the night just scooping up silicone, putting it back through and watching it leak out again until it got viscous enough and started to cure enough that it sealed itself. You can see we had a tremendous amount of waste of material, which is so unfortunate, but it did seal itself. I topped it off and we have a full mold. So now, hopefully, when I break this apart, there's something usable inside. It is quite stretchy rubber. Do some surgery here. It's glued to the board. Oh, I should have used hot glue. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the clay from the base because I don't want the silicone rubber layer to be that thick. I'm going to remove this clay and put a thinner layer there and then try a cavity pour on that. Alright, so there's a clay coating that will become the next layer of silicone, and I put some ridges to act as keys, and I put some higher points on there to make sure it's all vented. Now with this one, it's kind of a dish shape, so I don't think I have to worry as much about the silicone rubber flowing out. It's all going to go into the center, but I do need to make sure at every high point I need a vent to make sure the silicone rubber doesn't create any bubbles. Time for the epoxy. So I am gonna mix and match. I didn't feel like paying another $100 plus for some more freeform air. I don't have enough to finish, so I just bought some short strand fiberglass reinforced filler. This is really strong and it should work for a cap just like the freeform air. It just stinks and might not be as nice. Oh, I hate fiberglass. Okay, so that's covered. That's gonna cure pretty quick, and I think that's gonna work just fine. I'm gonna get out of here because the fumes are getting to me. So it looks like it turned out great. Other than it's stinking, it works really well. I'm just taking a little bit of clay, and there's some little creases and little bubbles that are in there, and I don't want that to transfer to the silicone rubber. So I'm just taking a little bit of clay and filling in those crease marks and bubbles. And then the next thing I gotta do, I'm take my drill and drill vent holes along this because I don't want this to get vapor locked at all. So lots and lots of venting. All right, so any high point in there I think would be vented. I got my mold release sprayed on there, be proud of me. And notice I'm keeping some clay in there, so there'll be a built-in pouring funnel for the wax. But my lid'll go pop on like so. That fits beautifully. I got this giant rubber band that I'm gonna put on there to hopefully keep it from lifting up. And here's exactly how much rubber I'm gonna need. I hope I have enough. No, I was gonna try clay, I'm not gonna risk it. I'm going hot glue. All right, that's cured. Tricky part now is to get it open without breaking anything. It's on there pretty good. I finally have a bear skull mold. I won't know how good a mold it is until I cast it, but oh my gosh, this is a relief to this point. Everything that could go wrong has seemingly gone wrong. Now I just gotta get this out somehow. It's not over yet. Finally came out. I was worried I was gonna have to break this thing. This rubber's really strong too. Remember how I wanted detail in the nose? Well, I did it to myself. It's crazy strong rubber. After all that, there's only one way to know how good the mold is, and that's to try it. It always seems to take several wax pulls before a mold looks good. So we'll go ahead and try the first pull and see how close we are. That locks in there pretty well, seemingly. And this should hold it together. Hopefully there's no bad parting lines. That's gonna take a lot of wax. So I put it in a box to kind of hold it upright. I'm not gonna be able to fill it with wax, but I'm gonna put enough in there, slosh it around, and start coating the inside. All that time and effort, and now we finally get to see if it worked. Still binds in there a little too tightly. I really should have had more relief on that clay. It's not bad. Wow, look at that. As I said, usually it takes a few pulls to get it to look really good, but that is awesome. Well, it was not an easy process, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think this is gonna make an amazing bronze. The detail that the rubber can capture and transfer into the wax just blows me away. Even the sutures of the skull are captured. The texture, everything. There are some bubbles that'll have to wax chase away, but that's just part of it. Pouring the wax so far does create some bubbles, so I think I'm gonna get one of those long oil funnels, and maybe that'll mitigate some of the bubbles that happen while I pour it. And I have the lower jaw ready. I'm just gonna make a block mold of that, but I think I need a break and I need to do that off camera. This is definitely not a how-to video. It's just a here's what I did video, but you might be able to learn something from it regardless. Thank you guys for watching. Come on back to see this transformed into bronze. Bye-bye.